He did not because it's he
Broadcast
did
is
now.
live, sir.
How you doing? It is live now.
All right, gentlemen. Today is September 25th. The year is 2022. We are back. This is Triple Option, gentlemen. Coy, Zach, what's happening?
Not much, morning, gentlemen.
All right. Man, we had an interesting week of football, college football yesterday. Well, actually Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And we're here to recap a lot of that. We'll talk about maybe, talk about some of the coaching, the coaches that might be on the hot seat. We'll dive into a couple of games that were played. And we'll have our HBCU matchup and anything else that pops up in our conversation. And we do welcome everybody to the show. So, gentlemen, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Let's
I
get it.
am.
All right, triple option. Our introduction video is brought to you by Terrence Jones. Here we go. That's right, Jones Music Company, LLC. We thank Terrence Jones for the track.
Thank you, Terry.
Gentlemen, yes, sir. Gentlemen, triple option. Man, we have a couple things to cover today.
My
So
brothers.
absolutely. So let's go ahead and kick things off, gentlemen, with the top 25. I'm not sure exactly what time it's official, but we do have an idea who's likely in there and things. So, any top 25 poll thoughts right now of some of the teams that are in there?
Alabama's
Mm,
getting better.
Alabama's getting better.
Like
Okay.
that. Yeah, they're getting better. That's as a Georgia fan, I'm concerned with that. Like I would have wanted the playoff to start it last week or a couple weeks ago
$2.
where they played Texas. So you give Alabama 5, 6 more weeks. They escape from that Texas game with a W. Like if they just get better every week, that's a problem. And then their schedule's tougher than Georgia's. So that's a problem too, because they'll have been tested more once you get to a championship game. So from the Georgia standpoint, Georgia needs to go undefeated. And I'd say Michigan and Ohio State, at least so far, causing a problem because they may be undefeated when they play each other. So that would leave up a debate if you lose a game of who should be in, who should not be in. And you don't want to be in that debate.
That's interesting. What about Texas? Anybody think they're gonna fall out of that top 25?
Yeah.
They'll bounce around. I don't think they're gonna be in and out. I don't really think they're gonna fall out just because they got the close one Alabama and then we know they're probably okay. Let's see. Who they have left on their schedule?
They got to play Oklahoma.
Well, that's
Yeah,
their loss. Okay, but who else?
I I'm not sure the
yeah, but that
Big
Texas
12 ain't
Tech,
really that good.
yeah, but that Texas Tech loss. I mean, I think it was 22 at the time. So I mean, there's no shame in losing to Texas Tech, but it was an upset. And
But the thing about it is they're Texas. That makes it that gives them automatically 1 or 2 votes every poll. Certain teams: Texas, Alabama, Ohio State, um,
USC,
USC,
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, Clemson. They all have automatically one vote for the top 25, no matter how bad they suck, because they're considered traditional powerhouses, and the logic is that they'll be at some point get it right and be a formidable force. They may not hit the top 10, but they feel like those teams will at some point fix it well enough to where they can actually turn it around and cause problems. Hence why
Yeah.
you have these two and three lost teams, Alabama's, Ohio State, Clemson, etc., in the top 10. You're like, what the hell? Because of voters tend to follow trends.
And Texas still has Oklahoma State and Baylor. So those are probably losses. Even though
Oklahoma,
they get their quarterback back, I will say they're probably better with that quarterback.
their quarterback in high
Ewers,
school.
they get Ewers back, they're probably better.
No. Their quarterback is in high school. It's like this. Hewers is auditioning for something, but their quarterback is in high school. They don't get their
Well,
quarterback till next year.
well, yeah, but Ewers is better than Card. Like Ewers can get the ball down, like you can see it. He can get the ball
I don't
downfield.
disagree, but I'm telling you, the Texas quarterback is in high school in Louisiana.
We'll see. I'm not sold on Archie Manning yet. Like,
Let me
let's
tell
see
you
how he
something,
plays
Zach.
against real
Wherever that boy
competition.
go, between his family and his daddy and everybody else, either he plays or he's gone.
Oh well,
No
not
question.
the play part. I'm with you that he's gonna play, but is he actually good?
Well, it don't matter. Fake it till you make it.
What's gonna matter for Texas? They trying to get back to the elite level. Like he better be able to play.
We're gonna find out. I mean, look what happened to Chris Sims.
Yep.
Oh man, that's a blast from the past there, Chris Sims. But
Major Applewhite should have never lost that job as quarterback of Texas. Period. But what did they do? It is what
Well,
it is.
well, I'm not mad that your name gets you some. Being a Manning should get you some perks, especially if you're a Manning quarterback.
Mm.
Until you prove that you can't do it. And I'd probably add from the poll that's going to change this week there, Mr. 411, that the Pac 12 and the Big 12 are probably eliminated already from they're about eliminated from the CFP.
mm-hmm.
And that's probably why you need the 12 team playoff because they're about done.
Yeah, those
Unless the few teams they have that are undefeated kind of stay that way, and Utah is going to kick themselves for that Florida loss.
yes, that was a huge loss at the beginning of the year. Another team I throw out there, and of course we're going to go through some of the matchups of yesterday, but the Miami Hurricanes, they lost to Middle Tennessee State at home and gave up a ton of points. And so I know we'll touch on that later, but that's a team that you know was a top 25 team. I definitely think they're going to be out of there with that kind of loss.
Yeah, but Calvin said it. Like the reality is, you shouldn't have these polls. Like next week should be when the first poll comes out, but they can't sell these games unless you put
Right.
a number in front of the team to say you got team 8 against team 5, and it sounds better on TV instead of just saying Alabama versus Texas for whatever reason.
It
But
definitely does.
Me personally, I would say the polls shouldn't drop until you at least had your third conference game, and that's across the board. You know what I'm saying?
well, I like how they do the CFP. That I want to say it doesn't come out to the first week in November because at that point you
Mm-hmm.
played some kind of real games. Because even though I said Michigan and Ohio State should be undefeated, they haven't either. Neither one of them have really played anybody, and I'm glad for Georgia that Oregon keeps winning. But as much as I want to be a Georgia homer like that, I can't tell you that Georgia is just this would be a great year for a 12 team playoff because it seems more open for teams to probably win the championship. But at this point, you just want to survive and keep going. So every game that you survive and keep that 0, you're good. Like A&M is probably going to be one of those teams at the end of the year after they were able to beat Arkansas yesterday. They're going to be saying that they should have, shoulda, coulda, woulda, and all this other stuff, but you're the one that lost to App State.
Yep.
And
Big problem.
they'll have 2 losses at the end of the year at a minimum, and they'll be trying to justify it, or Jimbo will be, but don't lose to App State.
Absolutely.
I think we know the other loss I'm talking about there, Calvin. That they're gonna have at a minimum.
You'd be surprised, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's our poll talk there. But man, shout out to OG $2. Good morning.
Morning.
That's my brother right there, brother.
Big shout out to OG $2 getting up and supporting Triple Option.
I know, much appreciated,
Gentlemen. We're gonna. Oh, go ahead, Zach. You about to say something there?
I was saying, if you don't have a team, that University of Georgia is inviting everybody who wants to jump on. We got no problem with that.
Zach, I'm gonna make it easy for you. $2 from Lafayette, Louisiana. What team do you think you got?
As I said, University of Georgia. We got plenty of space for people that want to be part of a championship team.
if your coach want to be all up on the field blowing whistles, doing car commercials. We don't do that at Death Row. That's what Georgia is. Come to Georgia.
I guess he's LSU.
You got it. If you don't want your coach all on car commercials, doing commercials for Aflac, come to Georgia.
I like the Aflac commercials with Saban and Dion.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why Dion probably ain't going to Auburn. Because I wonder would they keep doing that because at Auburn. But
hold on. That's coming up.
Oh,
all right.
That whole discussion coming up. You know, that's our last part of our discussion.
So we are on Blackjack TV. We thank Blackjack TV. Check us out on www.blackjacktv.net. And we're simulcast there. And our replays are on there as well. So we thank the Jack.
Yes, we do.
DJ Black Tie. If you're in the Middle Georgia area, check out DJ Black Tie 478-973-3669. 478-973-3669. Black Tie. All right, week 4. Let's get some of the matchups up on the board, and then we'll open up the floor to you guys, to the experts. We had some matchups here: Florida and Tennessee, Oregon and Washington State, Arkansas, Texas A&M. Then also there's the basketball matchup with Duke and Kansas, Baylor and Iowa State. So there was some decent matchups out here. Plus there was some others. So we'll throw it out there to you, gentlemen. But before I do that, the state of Florida, outside of Florida A&M, who defeated Alabama A&M yesterday, the state of Florida, man, they took it on the chin. As you can see, a lot of Florida teams were knocked down over the college week so far. But what matchup y'all want to jump on right now?
Florida, Tennessee.
All right, Florida, Tennessee it is.
The quarterback looked a little better, but I'm still not impressed. He's not Cam Newton.
Well, Cam Newton's one of the greatest college football players of all time. I would agree. He is not.
He looked better. I still say they're suspect at that position. And I thought Tennessee would actually beat them worse, but Tennessee obviously have hold on their defense that I didn't. I thought the defense would play better than it does. So either it was a matchup issue because I really didn't get to see the game as much. I just kind of saw the box scores, or Tennessee defense, they got some problems.
Well, in fairness, believe it or not, the quarterback is playing better than you gave him credit for yesterday. Like Richardson wasn't a problem yesterday. The Tennessee or the Florida defense is pretty hard. Like they're pretty hard. But I agree.
I said Tennessee, he played better. How much more you gonna get? How much more you gonna get from me about that kid?
Well, I'm saying he played. He wasn't the reason they didn't win yesterday. Like,
I know. Okay, I give you that.
Yeah, like if their defense was better, they could have been better. And Florida doesn't have any. Let me tell it, Florida don't have no damn weapons. I know they got some. They got some stats yesterday, but we grew up with the kind of like the Spurrier Florida, where they had athletes and everything everywhere. They don't feel like that type of team.
Believe it or not, the Spurrier, Florida. Let's be honest. They had athletes on defense. They had above average athletes on offense, but they had a better ran system than probably any most schools will ever see.
I that's probably right. And I don't feel like I don't kind of know what Florida is doing at times yesterday. But Tennessee, uh Orion has been fussing to me about Tennessee, telling me that Georgia needs to be aware of Tennessee. After the way Georgia played yesterday, though, I don't want to overreact. I Tennessee seems to have a good plan in place, and I guess Heupel is a good hire for them. Everybody was fussing about Heupel, but so far so good.
Look here, y'all. Tennessee is not going to get the cream of the crop anymore. It's not the 80s and early 90s. Tennessee's going to get what they can get. Tennessee, as far as coaches wise, is in the same category of a Mississippi State, Ole Miss. Who's else? The other counterparts? Basically, the rest of the SEC. There's only two and a possible four jobs in the SEC that gets that type of buzz as far as openings. And Florida is slowly losing its credibility over that job. But you have Alabama, you now have Georgia, and you always have you have Alabama, LSU, and then Florida, and now Georgia. And Florida's dropped a notch. The top two jobs now, Alabama and Georgia, because of the coaches there.
Woo!
The LSU job is probably the third most favorable job in the SEC. It just is because you if you get the LSU job, you get Louisiana and parts of Texas, and
Yep.
then you can work from there. So right there, you should be able to at least field a top 10 team. It's just a matter of getting the right coach. And then
Agreed.
Georgia, because Georgia's Georgia, and Florida is because you can't give up Florida because Florida is the state university of Florida. So therefore, you can always recruit there and have something to do with. And like they said, the perennial powerhouse, not franchises, but college teams. Am I wrong, Zach? Can you think of any other until Oklahoma and Texas show up?
What about Auburn? I
Auburn,
can't. I,
Auburn, yes, but Auburn's had a bad problem picking coaches because they picked coaches out of emotion,
well, they
and
got
they
it.
and they,
They got that
and they
Texas thing going on. Like
no, no,
it
they
seemed
pick they
like
pick coaches out of emotion, and they let Alabama decide whether a coach can keep his job.
yes, good, correct.
You fire, you get Gus. Why did you get Gus? Because he beat Alabama as offensive coordinator, correct?
Yep.
And what else did he do after he beat Alabama as offensive coordinator as a head coach? You fired his boss, recycled and got him. Does that make sense?
Of course not.
Okay. Anyway, we're gonna move on. I don't talk about Auburn much.
Oh, and Tennessee, I'll know about Tennessee by the time the Georgia game comes around because they go to LSU, then they got Alabama at home. UT Martin ain't worried about, and then they got Kentucky at home. So it, we'll see what type of team they are then, and that's great for us because that's a rough stretch that they got to play before they come to Athens.
Kentucky's gonna change somebody's season around. I don't know who they're gonna get, but somebody on that schedule gonna go home butthurt playing Kentucky.
I like Kentucky. I like how they
I like
play.
them too. I like the way they play ball. They're a really good team.
They
They're not.
physical on the line,
Mm-hmm.
run the ball.
Exactly. And they
Quarterback
don't
is
try.
probably a plus quarterback.
Yes, and they don't try to get over their skis. They just play, and they're well disciplined because and like
Yep.
you said, they play good defense. They're gonna upset somebody who's gonna come in there thinking they're playing Kentucky and thinking it's not basketball season, and they're gonna pop somebody in the mouth.
They could win 10. I think their schedule, they could, depend on how some games go, they could win 10 or 11 games. You know what? I'm not going to throw out the possibility Georgia can lose. Like, I don't want to, I should act like it's a given we go 12 and 0. They could, I could see the right scenario. They could beat Georgia after what happened yesterday.
All right. Well, speaking of yesterday, Zach, great key there. 39-22 victory for the University of Georgia. Kent State. Kent State is one of the few teams that put a plus 20 against Georgia's defense. And so, with that said, Zach, what is your thoughts on the Georgia Kent State matchup?
I don't understand these coaches when they get these games. Like what I would have loved to have seen yesterday is the start of the second half. Kirby sent Beck out there to be the quarterback, or I'd love during the week they just say first team, first team offense, and even if you want to go first team defense, y'all have the first half, almost like a preseason game, to do what you got to do, and after that, you not playing no more, regardless of whatever. And I know
And you
Kirby
gonna
ain't
get
gonna do that.
and you gonna get your ass fired as a head coach.
If you're in, if you're in
Let me explain.
Georgia,
No. I don't care who you are. If
you're
you
not
go in
getting
that mind,
fired.
these kids you going to play are still talented enough. So
He
you go
just
in there.
he
No,
just
you
signed a
go in
10-year
there thinking
contract.
you're going you okay, but if you mess around, like you said, that score is what? What was the final score?
It was 39-22. I
Okay,
didn't
they
think
won
they
by
played the
17
urgency.
points.
It,
That's right. And
are
if
you
and when how much urgency when you going to tell your starters that they're on a time clock and that we're not coming out there, we're gonna
you
play a
bet?
quarter and you leave.
Are you
You're gonna treat this game like a preseason game, get your ass
are
upset.
are you telling me that Kent State players are better than Georgia's players?
Are you telling me that what was our upset so far this year? Who all
App State.
who all, App State, Georgia Southern. Shall we continue? Marshall,
I,
Middle Tennessee State.
and
I don't want to hear it.
I just said switch to quarterback because you
You
missing
just
development
said, but
time.
you
Well,
telling your starters to
I
sit
would.
down,
I
and
I would.
you gonna end up your ass gonna be sitting on that plane ride like well you gonna be sitting you gonna ride the bus because you at home, so
It
you ain't even have time to you ain't gonna have time to think about it.
no.
You gonna be riding that bus, you gonna be walking out to that press conference sitting there looking stupid because they're gonna be like,
Nah.
hey, what happened?
It, I
Well,
think your
well,
second I think your second teamers would have got in there and they would have been hungrier and
and let me
and
explain something
and
to
wanted
you.
to prove themselves.
If you are on the second team, you know what that means?
What's that?
You're not good enough, so sit your ass down and let the
Yeah, you're
starters
you
let,
yeah, you're not
let
good
the
enough at
men go to work. Let the men go to work and the boys sit on the bench. Because if they wanted to play, they'd be on the first team.
nah, you're at Georgia, you're good enough. At Alabama, you're good enough. And if you
No,
want to
you're
go,
not good enough to start. You're the
no,
second. You're the second
no, you're
coach.
good enough as a football player.
I
Like
don't hear them.
you're good enough. And Kirby,
No,
you are. You
no.
why do you think Alabama keep churning out
You.
all these running
This is
backs
what
and
you
these
do.
wide receivers?
This is what you do. You go out there and you cut their throat early and often. Let them bleed out before the end of the first quarter. Then you start worrying about your future.
Well, you didn't watch the game. I
Flag,
watched it.
flag, flag on the play, guys. Flag on the
All
play.
right,
All
all
right,
right.
Zach, finish your thoughts on Georgia.
I
You was
just say they played lackluster. The quarterback played lackluster. You got your wide receiver dropping balls. There should be, and I've said this about Daniel Jones in the NFL. The Giants send Daniel Jones out there every week, and he gives you one or two turnovers. There needs to be a penalty for when you don't play well. If Kirby Smart preaches standard, okay, when dudes ain't living up to the standard, make a change and put somebody else in there and see can they do the standard. And I think that will have more of an effect. And if you lose to Kent State, I'm not making an excuse for Georgia losing to Kent State. I'm just not, and I'm not, and I hear what you say, Calvin, but you love to tell me that the offensive and defensive lines is a difference. If Georgia's offensive and defensive line personnel ain't better than Kent State's, then Georgia got bigger problems anyway. Because we gonna play y'all, and I told you, y'all got better yesterday. Y'all gonna keep getting better. And all I'm focused on is Alabama. And when we play y'all, these things are gonna pop up, and then everybody's gonna be wondering where it came from. It's been there. Like it's coming. Y'all gonna beat us. I can already see it now. Y'all gonna beat us. We the type of team that y'all want to play.
wow. Okay, Corey, the floor is yours.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just watching Zach to get a coach fired.
He's not gonna get fired. You know that. Like, stop it. You know he's
Okay.
not getting
You
fired.
know he ain't gonna get fired, but he got with the team and when he's put together, he's got about a 3 or 4 year window to maximize whether it's national championships, whether it's playoffs or whatever. Because in 3 to 4 years, all those freshmen, all those sophomores and juniors are all gonna be gone, and he's gonna have a new slot of kids that he's gonna have to try to win with. Yes, he will. Yes, I'm thinking he has a perennial top five program. So whether it's Clemson, whether it's Alabama, you'll get the right couple of recruiting classes in, and these players will pan out, and you got these kids for at most together 2 seasons, because usually sophomore, junior seasons when they start shining, when they start turning up. So you go play these games, you're gonna miss your windows. You're gonna be wondering why we always finish in top five, but we only got one national championship to show for it, or we only got one playoff appearance to show for it. Cut their throat and let them die. Then you bring the kids in and play. But if you go into a game with the mindset of we got this, and I'm trying to get the young guys some reps and blah 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 blah. That should be your mindset. In that once we beat these people to sleep, we're gonna bring the young kids in. Because again, you don't get your veterans and you don't get your quote quote starters in the mindset of we're gonna beat these guys and then we can go take it off. Because now you already get them in the mindset of turning it off and on when you don't want them. You always want them on, on, on. So it's a mentality thing.
You know,
That's why you
McIntosh.
see. That's why you see Saban flipping his wig in the fourth quarter up by 40 over a blown
Amen.
coverage.
And you know McIntosh got hurt yesterday. You know why McIntosh got hurt? Because he's
Well,
playing in the fourth quarter.
guess what? You know why McIntosh got hurt in the fourth quarter?
Why?
Because him and his teammates didn't put a team away early enough for him to sit his ass down.
Ah, okay, look.
Yeah. It,
If you had put them to sleep and the
Injured
second
players
strings
get
are
you
in there,
fired too.
hey, okay, what are you gonna do? You're gonna if your guys don't put a team away, you gonna so what are you gonna order? Might as well get bubble wrap and put the whole starters on cushions. Go get a bunch of fans out there because somebody gonna get hurt.
I,
It's
yep,
part of the game.
and it would have been my second string guys or third string.
Oh, now you sacrificing kids.
yes, sir. All right, man. Texas, the Longhorns, they fell short to Texas Tech. The crowd stormed the field. They talked about that throughout the game. So this was a big one for Texas Tech. It's still an upset. We touched on earlier that the quarterback, the starter quarterback who was injured against Alabama, wasn't playing, but still, it's still an upset. So Texas Tech defeats the University of Texas. Did you get any of that game in, Zach?
Yes, and I'm not sure it's a real upset only because Card is an okay QB, but in fairness, Texas is getting a lot of juice out of a close loss to Alabama. And last I checked, they just got wins and losses in the win column. Not close loss, not close win. It's just a W or L. Texas is okay.
Oh, now it's just a WOL.
Well,
But when
yes,
but when but
ultimately.
when Kent Skate push y'all within 17 points, it's the end of the damn world. Fire the coach.
Yes, because you already know them are development game. That's why I told you Alabama got better yesterday, which we'll get to that. But their passing game, uh, uh, Young, ain't that y'all quarterback got it,
hmm
it is developing more chemistry with the wide receiver, and I think they put the young man they got from Georgia on the outside and the other guy on the outside to better take advantage of things. They're figuring things out, which is what you're supposed to. But no, Texas. Now the sad part for Texas, and I was at the bar kind of watching this game, and I
Oh,
saw Texas Tech lining up for a field goal. They said Texas Tech for the win. I was like, how the hell are they about to get the win? Because I missed the running back from Texas fumbling. That's that's a tough way to lose when he's your best player. He fumbled, and I think hardly ever fumbles. But
Mm. Well,
Texas had a 14-point lead, I think, and they lost this game. That's kind of treat every game like Alabama.
what Buzz used to tell us: execute and protect the ball.
Amen.
If you can get those two things right, you got a long career ahead of you.
And
all right.
and I'd say too, this is kind of this has been the pattern for Sarkisian. Like as I said, you go back to the Alabama game. At the end of the day, he took an L. It looked good. He was in the lead and it's all excited, but he takes a lot of these L's where he's up or in control of the game and he snatches defeat from the jaws of victory.
What I've noticed about coaches in recent years, you have these young guys, or well, they're not young, they're older than us now, they're our age. But you take Belichick and Saban, right?
Yeah.
They are all about the organization, meaning this is how we do things, this is our way, this is what we're gonna do day in and day out, right? And then they'll get these young guys, these innovative, great coaches. But it seems like a lot of these great young coaches don't have the discipline of a
Amen.
Belichick or a Saban. Whereas even most people don't realize when Bobby was going in the late '80s, early '90s, it wasn't. Yes, he had Mark Rick there, but it wasn't. But you know who else he had there?
Mickey
Mickey
Andrew.
Andrews. Mickey Andrews was the guy that kept everything is going clock. This is what we do. This is our schedule. This is this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Seems like these guys have great innovative. Pippen, he's a great coach, but he just loses control of the situation too often. They don't have that. They don't have that second guy, or they don't have it in them to be that organized. Your boy Kelly down at LSU, he's that type of coach, but I don't like him. He just don't fit. He don't fit. I should say I don't like him. He don't fit. Now he needs an innovative guy. All Kelly want to do is run a pro style offense and block and tackle. Dude, you're gonna have to be more creative. You got to be more creative than that. I'm just saying.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into the hurry up offense here. Michigan. Quick thoughts on Michigan.
And
We'll find out when Michigan plays
yeah,
them, bud.
Calvin said a few weeks ago, it's hard to know anything when they haven't really played anybody, but they won. So as long as you keep the zero in the loss column, you good.
Apparently, the ghost of Michael Bishop showed up at Kansas State. I don't know what happened, but
Look at you pulling out old school name.
All right. There it
Oh,
is. Kansas State over Oklahoma.
oh, you lost a lot of players. So as I said, like you got that number 6 up there, but are they really the 6th best team in the nation? Like
Well,
who's
maybe
not,
that?
five.
not today.
Don't they have the UCF transfer quarterback or something? Like, and he was okay there, but is he someone that you fear? Like, and I know I keep going back to this. Everybody probably thinks I'm an Alabama fan. Bryce Young is good. Like, right when you look at a Bryce Young and then you look at this kid in Oklahoma, like, he don't scare you. He just like a system dude. Like you were trying to talk about some of these other. He's a system guy. And Caleb Williams out of USC. Like he gets a lot of hype, but you see yesterday when he went on the road, and that ain't even a tough environment. He's more a system guy. Like, so we'll see more about Oklahoma. They got a number by him.
Yep. And here's a number 4-0. Kansas. The Kansas Jayhawks are now 4-0. What do you think they can
Next,
do in this conference?
next, next,
I mean, good for them. I,
next. They're gonna
I
do what they do every year.
good for them. They
Y'all
they'll
gonna they
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 got to
gonna make
struggle
them,
to
they're gonna
find
make
two
their
more
fan
wins.
they're gonna make their fan base happy, and they're gonna get all excited. Then one day before by the second week of November, then they're gonna let everybody know who they are. We are Kansas football, and all those Kansas excited fans are gonna disappear again. Next, prove me wrong, Kansas.
No,
Once.
Calvin's right. There, if you look at the rest of their schedule, it's gonna be hard for them to get two more. Like, or you would think it'd be hard for them to get two more wins to be bowl eligible. But look, you're 2/3 of the way there.
7-4s. One of them 7-4
Right.
bowl teams. We're all happy.
Okay. Zach's old team, the Arkansas Razorbacks. And this is an old Southwest Conference matchup, right? Texas A&M and
Stop.
Arkansas.
Texas A&M and Arkansas ain't no damn rivalry.
It's an old
Stop.
school rivalry, Coy.
I know
Old
where this
school.
come from. I know it ain't even old school nothing.
Southwest
They
Conference.
it was old school because Lou Holtz was down there beating the hell out of everybody in the Southwest Conference, and they didn't know what to do with him, so all of them hated him. But that's
Yeah.
it. Arkansas ain't they been no rival to them people since Lou left. Shout out to the great Lou Holtz.
I,
Yeah.
I'm gonna I'm gonna go with what Calvin said earlier about offensive coordinators being innovative and everything. Arkansas had control of this game, and you're inside, I want to say, the 5 yard line, maybe inside the three. And this is where when he's talking about old guys, Saban, Belichick, you just discipline first. Uh, the great thing that Belichick does, he don't teach guys. He is against guys stretching the damn ball out for the pylon, for a first down or anything like that, because somebody can knock the damn ball loose and it's a fumble. Arkansas scores there. You probably have A&M beat down or whatever. And instead, I don't know what the hell they were doing on that play. Our buddy Rob is a shotgun guy for his high school team. And I never understand when you're lined up in the shotgun to get short yardage with. I'm old. So I'm gonna say that, Cal. I'm like your boy LSU. Get under center, turn around, have a fullback, hand the ball off or something.
Use the big butts for what they for. You get under the center, and all them 320s and 350s fall forward. It's very simple. And you know what you do, quarterback? Stick your head into one of them cracks and
Yes.
go.
And Arkansas has to feel bad. But I think some of this for me, because you have that fumble and then you have a snap that goes over the QB's head when you're in field goal territory and it pushes you back. It stems from the coach. Like, I like Sam Pittman. Glad he has a job and he's helped. He has helped Arkansas, but he doesn't feel buttoned up. And I know that doesn't mean anything. But when he presents himself on TV and he's talking about we bring in alcohol to the party and all this other stuff, like, you don't see Kirby doing that. You don't see Saban doing that, and you don't have to be that way. But when you are that way and things like this happen, it makes me feel like the little things you ain't taking care of. And as Calvin just said, those are execution things. Like,
Yeah.
you fumble in two critical situations, and that's why you lost the game.
Yep. Turnovers are dangerous. I mean, turnovers can cripple a team. Definitely momentum changers. You mentioned just a fumble there, so we got to mention this: Missouri and Auburn. Auburn survived, if you will, on the due to a fumble by Missouri as it was going in to score. Thoughts on that?
That's the game.
Uh,
Well, if you, it goes two ways. This is how I always look at it. You can either lose to turnovers or you can create turnovers and win games. That's why when I look at the box scores, I always look at the turnovers, interceptions, and sacks. Not so much as for determine who's going to win the game. It tells me how active and how aggressive that defense is. Because you could have you'll see, like they say, bend don't break. That's a lot of defense. But then I've also seen these defenses over the years that just feed off of turnovers. But when you have these Georgias, Alabamas, Clemsons, and they're playing Sisters of the Poor, and they cannot change, turn the ball, cannot create turnovers or whatever, that worries me. Hell, every year Auburn seem to beat Alabama because they created some late turnover or some special team play. It's like you say, it's offense, defense, special teams, and turnovers.
Mm.
That's usually if you win those four, if you win the line of scrimmage on offense and defense, and special teams play field position and create turnovers, you're not going to lose. Right or wrong, Zach?
Absolutely. And I think what people don't get is football's hard, and football is a practice sport. Like, you spend way more time practicing than playing football and stuff like this. Like, coaches spend a lot of time going over film. When you
Mm.
lose games for unforced errors like this, like stuff like that, it's a gut punch because it's
I've
hard to
been in
win.
those rooms.
It is hard to win.
Yeah.
It's a great win for Auburn when you should win that game because you're about to lose it.
A,
That's a terrible loss.
a coach can deal with a team that just physically out rammed it down their throat,
Yep.
or they physically can, or you got a wide receiver or somebody get on the edge and he just got that next level freak of nature speed or whatever. But what they can't deal with is We're losing because we can't execute. You got the tackle. You got a linebacker that's taking the quarterback on a read when he's taking the back on. A cornerback that's peeking inside and not paying attention to the double move outside.
Yep.
They can and more you see that when we as us as amateur commentators watching this stuff, you're like, Jesus, bro, did you not see
Yep.
the misread? You know,
And
quarterbacks
those
that
are
can't read. We are in a spread offense where we run more option now per se. Quarterback option plays now, whether it's throwing or receiving ever. Then I'm laughing because 60-70% of the quarterbacks out there running these damn option these spread offense can't read a basic read.
Yep.
So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of one read passes out there. If you watch the
mm-hmm.
game a little close,
You can't.
it's one to is they already programmed to
They
throw it a
prescript.
certain way.
No, this actually the coaches are telling the kids they prescript. Here,
Yep.
look here, and then
yep.
look here, then don't.
And so,
Because they,
yep.
they don't have confidence in those quarterbacks. So when we see some of these young quarterbacks that's got the goods, it's almost amazing. Whereas when we were more boring offenses, where you were 3 steps, 5 steps, 10 step drops, and all the other stuff that came from our generation quarterbacks that couldn't move, guess what they could do? Pick up the second, third, and fourth read because they couldn't move nowhere. They had to figure the shit out real quick. Oh, let me get the hell out of here with the ball
And
because they weren't going to run nowhere.
Yeah.
But now you get the quarterbacks that are so used to being able to rely on that athleticism. They'll take that first read, then they'll buy time.
Yep.
Well, as we see when they go as the level of ball and competition increase, that buying time don't work as much.
Yes, sir. All right. We're
and
into the last third here. Before we talk about the coaching carousel, let's get the Clemson game out the way there. Clemson, there were some teams that were picking Wake Forest on this one. There were some people, excuse me, some experts picking Wake and for the win. But Clemson managed to get out of there with a victory over Wake Forest. Is Wake Forest that good, or is Clemson just kind of
Zach, you were
I,
there. What did I say about Clemson when they played Georgia Tech? I
what
said
is
I was
that?
not. I said they weren't. I was not impressed. I
I
don't
haven't been
think Georgia.
either.
I said Georgia. I don't think. And everybody's talking about the score. I said I watched that game. That game was a lot closer. It got away because when you can send waves of talent at people, eventually you'll wear down a weaker team. But
that's a
up
good
until
point.
the third end of the third fourth quarter, that game was still a football game.
Yeah.
And then Georgia Tech had a couple of plays to go, couple turnovers, and a couple other things that went the wrong way, and then their morale broke, and then Clemson runs up with a score. But what I noticed was that Clemson, that quarterback, I don't know.
They have average offensive players, if you let me tell it. And I'm
Yeah, I
not
mean,
sure how good
when I
they are on
saw
the
a
line.
couple years when the kid first popped in for the Lawrence, I said, okay, this kid's gonna be pretty good when it turns his turn. But I don't see the progression from there to there. That's my
Yep.
issue with him. I I think it might be in there somewhere, but he better get it together because Dabo gonna bring in somebody else.
Yep. All right.
So
Any
I'm
more
not.
comments?
What I guess my deal is I'll say this: is Wake Forest that good? I don't know, but they're good enough to give Clemson hell. But I don't think Clemson. I think it's more of Clemson. It's not the Clemson they were 2-3 years ago, and I
Yeah.
don't think they haven't been that way for the last 3+ years.
They're
I
the
think they're a perennial powerhouse, but they've not gotten it back. That year that Lawrence won his national championship was it. Now they've been on the decline. Because remember I said you have those
yep.
classes, and they're gonna put it back together because that machine's gonna keep going. You look at the class, but they don't have quote unquote three ways. At one point Clemson had three ways. They put something. They literally laid down. They put three lines. They put three all perennial first round draft pick on them. Defensive line, and then you know what they did when they got tired? They put four more first round draft picks and
Yep.
four more. And then they turned around and put two corners out there that was going to make it to the league. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't have
Absolutely.
they don't have they don't have those interior. players, and it's hard to keep those coming. They don't have those. They literally Clemson at one point, what 3 years ago, Zach? Their front seven, though defense was pretty much every top position player that was gonna be drafted either one, two, or three in their position when
Yep.
the draft came around.
Yeah. Yep. Losing athletes there. All
We're
right.
the, we're the Oklahoma of the ACC right now.
Mm.
Back when Oklahoma would win the Big 12 and then they go get smoked by
Okay.
one of the better teams. So that's
Yeah, but
probably what's
Oklahoma,
going to
but
happen.
I'll give you what I'll say about this is Oklahoma doesn't ever really get some. I mean, Tennessee don't. I'm sorry, Clemson don't really ever get smoked. They're always going to be a game foe. So you
All
got to give
right.
the boys up the street props, even though none of us
Who-
like them. Go
All
ahead.
right, guys. Who's your Heisman front runner?
Bryce Young, I have no reason to change from the beginning of the season.
Right, yo.
All right. So
No,
there
you
we
know
go.
what? You know what? You
Oh,
know what? No, you
Calvin.
know what? You know what?
Yes.
Sanders. No, no.
Yes.
Sanders. Sanders, my new front runner.
Sanders.
You said you referring to Shiloh Sanders?
Sherrod, yes.
I mean, not Shiloh. I'm sorry. Shador.
You should
Shador,
be
yes.
you should be
Yeah.
ashamed, Calvin.
No, I
Go
shouldn't.
ahead.
Yes, you should.
Why
All
not?
right. So Zach has Bryce Young and Corey's bringing up Shiloh. So let's quickly dive over
Shador.
to the Shador. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, I have that on my mind because they keep
I
saying they
know.
keep talking about how he's going to return, and also we could throw the score up there. Jackson State with another victory, 49-7 over Mississippi Valley State. That shouldn't come to it as a surprise. Dion is post locker room conversation. He mentioned that the team did not dominate. It was a
Correct.
win, but they did not dominate, and he's absolutely right on that. There was a lot of mistakes made in that game, according to the standard that they want to set. And he has mentioned that they're going to practice. They're going to be off the next 2 days. They're going to practice Tuesday and Wednesday, and then they're going to be off till the following Sunday. And he already threw some motivation out there because their next opponent actually scheduled Jackson State as a homecoming matchup. So I think that team better watch out.
It's
So
gonna be about 80 on the scoreboard.
yeah, interesting. And other FCS games, this one caught my eye as well. But North Dakota State is still rolling. This is my FCS number one team. If anyone wanted to take a poll there, but they had a good victory there yesterday over South Dakota. And then our HBCU matchup, North Carolina A&T, they defeated South Carolina State. That's my parents' school there. Defeated them 41-27. They pretty much handled South Carolina State by really on the ground. I mean, they was averaging around 6 yards a carry, and just pretty much took care of business in that manner. North Carolina A&T did look sharp. Corey Fields, quarterback for South Carolina State, he had a big game. I think we all need to keep an eye on him and keep an eye on Shaq Davis. Shaq Davis will be in the NFL. You hear it
Mm-hmm.
here now. He will be in the NFL and he will be a player in the league. And Jalen Fowler, he had a solid performance, but again, that was mainly the running from Brayshaw Tootin, who had 140 yards there and 3 touchdowns. And that was the matchup there. South Carolina State, Jackson State, and North Carolina A&T. If you look at the HBCU rankings, they're 3 of the top 10 in the
They are the
HBCU
top
rankings.
three. If I'm not mistaken, it's
Yeah.
Jackson, South Carolina State, North Carolina A&T was like third or no. South Carolina State was number three, right?
Well, I know they're
Mm.
all in the top 10 at this point. It'll probably shift
They're in the
around
top
after
three.
after the victories, but yeah,
Pull
those are
it
some
up,
of the.
Zach. If I'm
those-
not mistaken, because there was somebody.
And we'll get those HBCU rankings and put it on the YouTube page as well. But we definitely want to do that. But when Corey, let's see, we just lost Corey. It must be a signal issue, but we'll get it
No,
It's
straight.
I'm here.
okay.
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, okay, okay. You did like the Jay-Z album cover. You faded to black there.
Mm,
but
the
you're
white
back.
effect.
All right.
Is A&T D1 now in football or FBS, whatever we call it now instead of D1?
I was trying to sort it out
Or are they still one
earlier
double A?
because it's you
Because I
got
thought they were
division
going D1.
you got division two, which are some of the schools, and then you have the top one, the top class, quote unquote, is like a hodgepodge. So it's kind of I was trying to figure out who fits where, but the top teams per se
Yeah.
is Jackson State, South Carolina State, and I want to say is it Norfolk State or A&T?
But what we're gonna do, we're definitely gonna post it on the YouTube page, and that we'll get our producers on there and get that together. But yeah, we'll get all those answers put out there real shortly. But we got to get into, gentlemen, the coaching carousel before we get out of here. So our last segment here is about the coaching situation in the college football landscape. Of course, there's rumors about Auburn looking for a coach. Or eventually, we'll be looking for a coach. We know about Nebraska situation, Arizona State. We know what happened there with Herm Edwards, and man, even the staff over there was trying to get rid of him. So, that was an ugly situation there.
Treasonous.
Um, but yes, guys, what is the best job
Herm Edwards,
opening?
Herm
What's the
Edwards
best?
should, Herm should tell Arizona State kiss his ass and go into HBCU.
Yeah,
I really, really would love when these coaches, I would like Samuels and a cut of others, take their show and go to these HBCUs and hey, use them as a stepping stone, build a program. I don't care how you do it, but once you get the more talent, like Herm Edwards is a hellified football guy, a
Yes.
hellified coach. Arizona State is Arizona State. Let's not get it twisted. I hear all that Desert Storm stuff and all that stuff they had for some time. They've all You are what you are. Thank you, Denny Green. You are what you are. Now, what do I think about the coaching carousels? Look, Auburn, Georgia Tech. Who else is that? Give me another one that's out there openly firing a coach without firing them, looking for a new coach.
uh,
Uh, who else is out there openly searching? Not to mention they got a coach. Who else? Yeah, you can get mad. He want to.
he
Mr.
mad at
Lucky.
you,
uh,
boy. He is mad.
I
I
yeah,
don't care. Hey, buddy.
like the boosters are mad. They are probably more upset about that fumble
Yeah,
and win for Auburn
the
yesterday
big thing.
than the other team.
Guess what? Y'all are not getting
Who Auburn?
the no Auburn, not Georgia Tech. They all talk every
Oh no, no,
this
Georgia
this is
Tech definitely
crazy.
not.
No, a lot of these schools are not going to get Dion. Look, Dion is going to sit back, even if he got players to move on. Wait another 3 to 5 years before he move on. He's on a mission first. Y'all, okay? Yes, money's always good, but let's be honest. Dion has the money and the time to. He's at that. It's this thing when you get to a point where your ego's bigger than your pocket, then you don't care about the money anymore. Dion has he this Jackson State and this whole thing that he's trying to do is like his ministry. And this is what he's going this is he's trying to create something. And he's
Mhm.
trying to create his legacy. Him going to Florida State, him going to any of these other schools don't mean it won't be as big of a legacy if he turns Jackson State into a perennial national powerhouse. That would be more for Dion's ego than going to Florida State. Oh, of course, you go to Florida State. They got the talent. They got this, and they got all this and all this. Of course, you should win. They just needed a good coach, right? That's all that's going to be said if you go to a top Power Five school, right?
Yeah.
If Jackson State becomes a perennial powerhouse, move Division One, and actually make the top 10 ranking, they're gonna think Dion is the next coming of not Rock, whatever that dude's name is,
I got Newt
Yeah.
Rockney.
Newt Rodney. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be having him up there like Jim Thorpe and all the other stuff. He gonna be on the hall. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But so that's how I see it. So all y'all get Deion Sanders out of your head. Unless y'all plan on building $1 billion contract, get Dion out your head.
Bring us home, Zach.
If Auburn really doesn't like the coach that they have, and they're the little brother of Alabama and they kind of want to really ruffle Saban's feathers, they need to offer Dion 10 years, $100 million contract and see what he can do there. And you just step out the way and see what happens. He'd be a great fit for Auburn because Auburn has the resources. They just need somebody that can bring the people in.
Auburn has
Personality.
the resources, and they have. See, okay, like it's weird. Like for instance, Columbus is actually a pretty good football hotbed. Can we agree? And
Absolutely.
St. George.
Yes.
Most people don't realize this University of Georgia don't get the kids from Columbus. Auburn do.
Yep.
Right. Proximity, right?
Yep.
30
Yep.
miles away.
Well, it ain't proximity because the kids from Phoenix City go to Alabama. So it's weird. It's weird. The kids
I'm
from
talking about for
Valley,
Georgia.
right? But yeah, but you think about it, Alabama. But Auburn also makes big inroads into Florida and the rest of Georgia too. So
Hmm.
Auburn actually, there's a reason why Auburn tend to be good, and it just depends. Like it's kind of weird how that state breaks down. Yes, Alabama's king in recruiting there; they always have been. But you have the other perennial powerhouses like Opelika's Auburn, Auburn City, Auburn. Kids go to Auburn. Opelika kids go to Alabama. Valley kids go to Auburn. Just it's just weird how it works.
Hmm.
So they get enough of kids. They get enough of the kids from home, and they have inroads into other places.
It, it's not open yet, but it's the Auburn's probably they want to like everybody talks about Michigan and all this great stuff. Auburn has as many national championships as Michigan in the past 30 years, 40 years. Like
Hmm.
everybody loves Bo Schembechler. Bo Schembechler never won a damn national championship. Auburn
No,
is
he
a
didn't.
and then for Auburn to win a national championship when you're surrounded by all these other great teams, and really they the little brother to Alabama, and they
That's
won a
it.
national championship.
No, they're
It's a great
they're
job.
only little. They're only little brother kind of. Auburn University, honestly, traditionally is, let's see, third most national championship in the SEC over the last 40 years. Bama, Florida, then who? LSU, and I think Auburn has more than LSU or has the same amount. LSU got what, two,
Three for good old LSU.
three, and I think Auburn has about three. So they're about tied with LSU.
Auburn is a Auburn is like it'd be a great job for Dion because you're not getting an Alabama job, you're not getting a Texas job. At least I don't think you're getting a Texas job, and
Why
you
would he
ain't
want
getting a
Texas?
Georgia
Yeah.
job.
But why would he?
Why would he?
Why would Dion leave his situation?
Because
His se-
I'm offering you 10 years, $100 million, and you
his
got a
but
national
no, the
championship
situation.
program.
Okay, and here's the deal. Like I said, if he goes to Auburn with a national championship, it does not mean as much as him winning a bowl game and then and making it to the
And
top
look,
10 at Jackson State.
it,
It's a bigger legacy. Dion's deal is about his legacy
has
right now.
Auburn had a black head coach?
No,
Big deal. Look, it's big deal to Zachariah who grew up in the South, and it would see.
guess
Look,
what? Guess what?
I'd be an
You,
unofficial Auburn
you,
fan if he went there.
I know where all his black coaches at. We all do.
What Dale?
He's in Georgia.
You damn right.
Yep.
I love Dale. I think we know I love Dale as much as anybody. If you got a choice between Dale and Dion right now,
You're
and
not
let
getting Dion. Stop saying you got a choice. You act like Dion is on the table.
I'm gonna just say I hear everything Dion's saying, but I see better than I hear. When they
I
put the
know
money
you.
in
So
front of him,
you're putting it in the money situation. What
yep.
you got to understand is Dion. See, we're broke. Dion's not okay, and Dion is
Yeah,
and Dion
I
is
know. I'm sorry, Harsh.
always going to be it's going to be able to generate income. Let's get that
Okay,
understood,
I'm
right?
you correct.
However, but at certain points, it's just like when the guys play in the league and they get all these big contracts and all these big
Yeah.
extensions, and then later in their career they start trying to get on these championship teams because it's more about their legacy. Dion's deal is about his legacy. You gotta give me a reason why Auburn would be the only thing that Dion I can see interesting about Auburn is
All right,
that
guys.
so he can
All
go
right,
tell Nick
guys.
Saban, fuck you. I got 25 seconds. The only reason why I got 30 seconds. I'm sorry, I got 30 seconds. No,
You
all right,
got
guys.
15 seconds.
Only reason Dion was going to Auburn is to tell Nick Saban fuck you for that shit he did last spring. That's the only
And
reason why he'll go up there. I'm out.
all right.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, everybody watching and listening. Have a good one.
Have a good one, fellas.